smile.
Let's take time now and listen to the Word of God.
Thank you, Steve. Shirley.
How are you? Good, good.
Well, it's great to be back with you, and it's been an extended period of time since we were here. It's about 6 weeks, because we wanted to be with you before Christmas. So it's great to be back with you, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
But that being said, I'm sure in a room with about 30 people here tonight, maybe for some of us here, it won't be such a great New Year. There'll be some difficulties that will come up this year. And in a sense, it will almost be like you're going through a storm or a fire this year. But even if that is the case, we're going to look at an account that happens here tonight that will give you hope. It doesn't just happen. It comes to those who have set their eyes purposefully on Jesus and for His help. Because as I stand here tonight, a year ago, at the beginning of that year, and if I would have shared with you my own account of what happened in 2012, I wouldn't have believed it. There were many different fires that I and my family had to go through. But with God's grace and His mercy and His strength, you make it through. And you even will find that you'll reach a place of freedom in it, if you could believe. I'd like to read to you tonight from an account found in the Old Testament, in Daniel. And it says, I'm going to jump into the story and then I'll give you a little bit of background information. But it's found in Daniel chapter 3. It says, therefore, at that time, certain Chaldeans came forward and maliciously accused the Jews. They declared to King Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. You, O king, have made a decree that every man who hears the sound of the horn and pipe and musical instruments shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoever does not fall down and worship shall be cast into a burning fiery furnace. There are certain Jews whom you have appointed over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, pay no attention to you. They do not serve your gods or worship the golden image that you have set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in a furious rage, commanded that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be brought. So they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar answered and said to them, Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my gods or worship the golden image that I have set up? Now if you are ready, when you hear the sound of all those musical instruments, fall down and worship the image that I have made. Well and good. But if you do not worship, you shall immediately be cast into a burning fiery furnace. And who is the God who will deliver you out of my hands? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we have no need to answer you in this matter. If this be so, our God who we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and He will deliver us out of your hand. But if not, be it known to you, O king, that we will not serve your gods or worship the golden image that you have set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar was filled with fury, and the expression of his face was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And he ordered the furnace heated 7 times more than it was usually heated. And he ordered some of the mighty men of his army to go and bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their cloaks and tunics, their hats and their other garments, and they were thrown into the burning fiery furnace. Because the king's orders was urgent, and the furnace overheated, the flame of the fire killed those men who took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell bound into the burning fiery furnace. Then King Nebuchadnezzar was astonished and rose up in haste. He declared to his counselors, did we not cast 3 men bound into that fire? They answered and said to the king, true, O king. He answered and said, but I see 4 men, unbound, and walking in the midst of the fire. And they are not hurt. And the appearance of the 4th is like the son of the gods. And they walked out. We'll stop there, but they walked out of that fire, very much alive and well. So here, just before, like I said, let's get into a little bit of the background information. Here we're introduced to this King Nebuchadnezzar, and he was the king of Babylon.
61,
and what happened was he took over Israel. And what he did was he took all the best resources out of Israel, including people. And so here we have these 3 young men, probably teenagers, maybe 14, 15 years old. And this king saw something of value in these 3 men, and so he gave them a position of leadership in Babylon. So they were, in a sense, overseers. So now this king, Nebuchadnezzar, in his land, he sets up this image. And in another account, before this, we're told how big this image is. It's 90 feet high. That's like a 9-story building and about 6 feet wide. And it's made out of gold. At least the outer parts of it were gold. Can you imagine? 90 feet high, 6 feet wide, and gold. And his instruction, not so much his instruction, it says in verse 4, he commanded that when you hear the musical instruments starting up, everybody was to bow down and worship this image. It was really a representation of the king and the false religion. And he commanded that everyone, no one was allowed to avoid this. When they heard that, no one was excluded. They had to bow down and worship. And it was dedicated. And all the public officials were there when this first took place. Nobody was excluded. The rich, the poor, the leaders in the kingdom of Nebuchadnezzar, they were all there. And it wasn't a suggestion. They had to. They were commanded to worship this image. So when you hear that music, you bow down and you worship. And remember what we were told. If you don't decide to do this, the results were immediate. The consequences were immediate. And they weren't, you were thrown in jail. That would have been okay. These were deadly consequences.
So bad.
So here's, you get an image of what this false religion, even today, can do. It can draw you away from the true and living God. So here's this king, and he's setting up this false religion, he's setting up this idol, and he's telling you what's valuable, according to what he wants, and what he believes is right. And today it happens all the same. Very much similar. Someone's telling you what you need to do. And it's so true. You know, any football fans here tonight? There's a couple? Well, the Super Bowl is coming up. And I just heard for a 30-second spot, a commercial, you know what that's going to cost them, the advertisers? Close to $4 million for 30 seconds. Because they know that they can get into your head and tell you what you need. Oh, if only you buy these potato chips. Doritos. Steve's favorite brand. Or if you only have this car. Oh. And they know it works.
I don't know how to drive a car.
Well, okay. Stick with the chips then, Bobby.
Yeah. Stick the chips.
So you
I
do
don't
this.
even know how to ride a bicycle either.
Alright, that's fine. So you do this, he's telling them, or you're dead. They put their value in material things, and it works when you tell people what to do. So there they are. We're introduced and we began the account here tonight, where somebody, these